Today, as part of the tutorial, because that's what I'm doing, a tutorial to bring you back into what you have to pay attention to and to have you stop paying attention to the stuff that doesn't matter. They are distracting you, and you're better than that. I'm going to throw out a couple of things just to get things going. A couple of ideas, just to get things going. Okay. Number one. First, Vivek. ESG is not an acronym. It is an abbreviation, an initialism. It is not an acronym. ESG, unless SG is the sound it makes, it is not an acronym. Number one. Number two, if you don't understand what motivates somebody, give me an example. I was talking to someone about Ben Shapiro. Nothing but respect for the work of Ben Shapiro as a broadcaster, as whatever it is that he does. Ben Shapiro, Prager, name anybody. First, there are people I don't like to listen to, but I can assess what they do in terms of this business that we're involved in. Ben Shapiro is the hard-boiled, absolutely intractable, indefatigable, pro-Israel, pro-anti-Palestinian, right-wing. His thing is perfect. It's the Orthodox Jew, wears the kippah. Brilliant. And he never veers from that. He's perfect. It's kind of like Hannity. Hannity has never veered. No hits, no runs, no errors. If there is a rule to be learned in this, and I can't do this, because I change when the facts change. I'm not arguing 1980s Reagan, Republicanism, because there's no more Reagan. It doesn't work anymore. But others still do. Hannity is Hannity since 1989. Since Rush Limbaugh, since his heroes have been Rush, Reagan, Hardboy, very simple Newt Gingrich contract with America. This is not meant as a slam. From a product point of view, he put his show on, aside from the numbers or whatever it is, which is very good, he never varies. You know what you're going to get. This is it. It never varies. Ben Shapiro never varies. Junk yogurt, whether you like him or not, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get this big, fat, sweaty, oily. He looks like he needs to be a little makeup or something. He always looks like he's hypertensive, like he's just uncomfortable, like his clothes don't fit, like he doesn't like to be there. He loses his mind. You know what you're gonna get. Alex Jones. You know what you're gonna get. And Alex scared me because he was on with Tucker, and I'll get to this in a moment. No. Yes, Tucker. Or was it Elon? I'm not sure. He showed a conciliatory side, which I think he had to. But he was almost like letting people in, like, oh, so that's what he's like when he's not yelling and screaming. It's like the old days of professional wrestling when you would see like Freddie Blassie when he wasn't yelling. When he wasn't yelling pencil neck geek, like, oh, that's Freddie Blassie. There's only one recorded conversational recording or tone of Adolf Hitler, and it was done in a railroad car in Finland or something. He was having lunch or something, and supposedly they wired this car, and Hitler didn't know it, and he was just speaking. He's got a very deep voice, and he sounded normal. And when you hear him, I thought, wow, what happens if people hear Hitler and he sounds normal. Whose interest would it be to make Hitler sound not normal? It's very interesting. Okay. Listen to this. I had to bring this up because I'm fascinated by it. I am a multidisciplinary reviewer, a polyglot, a polymath, whatever you want to whatever you want to call this thing that I'm doing. And I am interested in what is a little bit of like, what's the message? What's the shtick? What's the work? What are you trying to do? What's the angle? What am I listening to? If you watch William F. Buckley in the old days, you realize, I don't care about that. What is he trying to do? William F. Buckley, many people, Gore Vidal opined that he was a closeted gay, that he was, that he went out of his way with his bravura, played the harpsichord, and he was very effete, very fey, very interesting, and that might have been this kind of ambivalence. You got to know what's behind this. By the way, another thing too, when I try to tell people this, they have a hard time grasping this. Always look for what motivates society to think one way. If you want to really watch something, watch what's happening with Taylor Swift. But when I tell people this, it is part of some of my constituents. They're very proud of saying, oh, I don't care about that. That's stupid. That's whatever. You're missing the point. And I immediately will, if ever I meet you and you say, oh, I don't care about that, I will walk off from you. I want somebody who says, tell me about that. That's interesting. That's what I want. I want the absolutely ravenous to understand what is happening. Not too long ago, I had something involving a kind of an extra familial sort of thing. And people were talking about it. And I said, you don't understand how this thing works unless you understand the dynamic between this person and what the death of this relative meant vis-a-vis this one. You will never be able to figure out what's going on unless you understand the dynamics of this. Some understood it, one did. The person who understood it, that's who I talked to. You don't understand. If you really want to understand politics, your life, business, religion, God, the realities of it, whatever it is, you can't read a book, go and just see what people are saying. You have to step behind and say, what does this mean? Give an idea. The biggest dog of the year is this movie Maestro. They're making it up with Bradley Cooper. And the whole story is, you know who should get a Academy Award is the makeup man and his nose. He has a prosthetic nose. And to show you how bad it is, Leonard Bernstein's nose was prominent. Not because he's Jewish, not because he has a big nose. Jimmy Durante was Italian. I don't know what the hell does that have to do. But people focused on, is that anti-Semitism? Stop. What does that tell you? Nobody knows what anti-Semitism is. People love to talk about it. Have you seen Pahlavi? You want to see a nose? He looked like, what is his name? Not Artie Shaw. What is that comedian's name? Artie Lang. Artie Lang had that nose that blew up or broke or what? I don't know how he had this. It's like somebody put a knot, took a glob of fat and stuff. Look at Pahlavi's nose. It's the most fantastic thing you've ever seen in your life. I just stare at it. And I want to talk to a plastic surgeon. What is this about? What is this? It's the most interesting thing I've ever seen in my life. This is the one. Forget this. So anyway, Cameron Russell, what, I just said his name. What is his name? The name of the guy playing Bernstein. The actor playing Leonard Bernstein. Bradley Cooper. I keep calling him Cameron. Bradley Cooper. Now here's a story. If you don't get the story, you're going to miss it. Every year, they're begging the Academy, please give him an Oscar. Remember it was that thing with Lady Gaga? Please give him the Oscar. You're missing this. If you don't see internecine real battle, this is a work. This is a shoot. Missing the point. Few people understand it. Sometimes you're missing what's going on. Watch Brian Kilmeade interview MBS. I saw it in my YouTube rotation. It is a suck-up, sycophant, bootlicker, lickspittle, toady, ass-kissing little boy. It was as bad as Tucker, we'll get in this moment, with Elon. Kilmeade was almost panting. And I kept thinking of, here was Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace went to the Ayatollah Khomeini. I said, Mr. Prime Minister, whatever. Some people say, forgive me, their words, not mine, that you're a maniac. You're out of control. Do you know what balls that took? Do you know what that was? Mike Wallace? Mike Wallace could have never made it out of there. They could have claimed anything. Mike Wallace could have been up on a turret. You said that to the grand, and under some weird Persian manlyhood, he could have said, I've got to teach this bastard a lesson. I've got to teach him something. Mike Wallace did this. Here's Brian Kilmeade. Show us, is this really yours? What do you do for fun? And MBS, look at the body language. He says, I got this little punk owed. He says, I like video games. What? He goes, since I was a kid, I like video games. Video games? You like video games? That's cool. Couldn't believe what I was singing. And I wanted to stop. If I could say, does anybody see what's happening here? It's not the story. It's what's behind the story. Look at him. He's scared. How about this? Did you chop up Khashoggi? Did you kill him and put him into bags? That's what they say. I understand you're pissed off at Biden because Biden released the information of tapes I heard of this guy screaming and yelling with a bandsaw. And that's one of the reasons why you didn't take Biden's calls for whatever. Now, that's the question. You think Brian Kilmeade would have asked that? Hell no. That's the story. That's the story. But we've lost it because you're being thrown so much garbage. Stories mean nothing to you. I don't even know. Okay. The American conservative right has become a fan of there's no ideology. American conservatism is in love with the American media conservatives. It's not a question of, well, are you would you consider yourself to be more of a kind of a Reaganomics? Would you be a paleo conservative? Would you be, is it conservatism? Is it republicanism? Would you, what area of the tent? They look at you like, I don't know what you're talking about. They'll tell you, what are you? Fox News or Newsmax? Oh, I'm Fox News. I'm Fox News. I'm Newsmax. I'm Greg Kelly. I'm, whatever it is. I'm a Laura Ingraham. By the way, I'm going to tell you right now, as a human being and as a polymath, I'm interested in everything. Plastic surgery, fascinates me. One of these days, you're going to say, programming note at Fox News, Laura Ingraham's show has been canceled. She is not able to close her eyes at all and must constantly have her eyes covered with bandages and constantly bathed in saline. She has to live in a dark light because there is so much Botox and whatever. Her eyebrows she cannot close her eyes. Her lip she cannot be under the lights. We apologize. We're going to play the best of. There's nothing left anymore. And I'm looking at this and I want to stop the show and I want to have like 10 plastic surgeons on and say, if somebody came to you and said this, would any of you do you feel there at all a duty as a physician? They would probably say, not if I say no, they're not going to come to me. Interesting. Okay. Tucker Carlson. The newbie, the sinos, conservative in name only, or whatever you want to call these people, love him like people love Taylor Swift or love I don't know who fans are. Meghan. See, another one too. Meghan, the Meghan Markle. This is a palace intrigue regarding the most powerful family on the face of the earth, and nobody gets it. They don't understand it. They think it's, oh, that's Daily Mail stuff. It doesn't matter. No, you're missing. That's not. And again, I can't find anybody. You're missing the point because it's so obvious to me. I'm putting on these glasses. I'm saying, does everybody see this? No, you don't see this. I just put these glasses on. Phony, phony, phony. Real, phony, real phony. Dead. And the media continues to push the person and not the idea. Okay, Tucker Carlson, listen to me. Tucker Carlson is the most fascinating person. Why? Because Tucker Carlson has an identity issue, the likes of which is a mile long. He is screaming to be on the couch. Dr. Freud, analyst, who are you? What do you want to be? Tell me. Tell me. I used to see people interview, let's say stars, Broadway stars, movie stars, and feel that they were themselves a star because they were interviewing a star. You know, if you're interviewing, I don't know who knows. I don't know who we don't really have a Hollywood star system. But Taylor Swift is today the Beatles. Is bigger than anything you can imagine. Taylor Swift is a machine, completely manufactured, completely created. It's Wag the Dog, Zelig, Chauncey Gardner, the pure power. Business schools will be studying Taylor Swift for generations. Generations. They'll be studying Donald Trump. They'll be saying, look how we did this. We did this. Al Michaels, you hear about this? Al Michaels did not understand the power. Al Michaels thought, well, I'm going to speak truth to power. Well, for some reason, Taylor Swift, and I'm not going to go into the rumors. That's my private channel. Let me tell you something about rumors, and this is the weirdest thing in the world, okay? If there's a rumor, it's true. Rumors are true. They're always true. Joe Rogan did a thing recently, and they said, is it true that Robin Williams stole jokes? And Joe Rogan said, yes, absolutely. And he said the rumors are true. And Joe Rogan said something very interesting. Joe Rogan is this pound for pound the smartest, the most dangerous person because he covers so many areas. And he's so centered in who he is. He doesn't, we'll get to compare to him with Tucker in a moment, but he said Robin Williams, right or wrong, stand-up comics have kind of like set routines. And Robin Williams never did. He would just kind of, riff or whatever it is. Well, when you're up there riffing and you hit your gas tank goes empty, you have to look back and you figure, okay, I got to do something. I got to figure something out. You'll say something that you don't remember you actually heard because you're up there. And I know this for a fact. Your head's kind of spinning. You don't know really where you were. And he may have done it kind of, inadvertently or whatever, but they said, oh, he was absolute, he stole. And it was true. I thought that was so interesting about the way people are when they really, if you really want to know the truth behind them, and about how rumors that in the comedy world, stealing jokes or stealing material is such a, it is such a, and it should be a death sentence. An absolute death. You steal somebody's line, especially when you're better. I remember Rogan challenges one particular person. It's true. But the line was, rumors are true. They're true. And you know what else is true? Gossip. You see, there's the stuff you see. You might go online, you might see Drudge. You might go back and say, okay, there's Fox News. Or maybe I'll go to this podcast. Okay, that's good. Podcast. That's up here. Directly beneath that. Not very deep, but hidden from you. It's almost like the dark web of blind gossip, rumors, industry truth. And everybody knows it. You got to know how to access it. We get it every day. And all of it. I've never read one story where I thought, no, that's crazy. Never. Now, by the same time, you don't elevate it. You don't recognize the status of it as being true because it's just somebody saying something. And after all, how many people? But these various sites never sued, never challenged, absolutely, positively, 100% the truth. Taylor Swift is a genius in terms of manufactured. They sat down, they said, we're going to create this out of whole cloth. She's very talented, very popular, but not less. So she picks this guy out, whatever this football player. And he probably, we don't know, probably signed an NDA the size of a phone book. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're not going to say this. Don't say this. Might be compensated, maybe not. We'll help you. You'll help us. We're going to fly you in. Here's the storyline. She likes you. You like her. Don't say anything. Shut your family up. Do this stuff. It'll last, I don't know how long. And then whatever it is, we walk away and we're good friends and that's it. Okay? You got it? Do you know how many marriages in Hollywood like that? You're going to marry him, 2.2 kids. You got a kid. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut. Be quiet. Go over there. Don't say anything. One of the most interesting, ironclad, absolute agreements, and not to exclude, but to certainly acknowledge, is Marla Maples and Trump. You never hear her at all. Never. Never. And there can be a variety of reasons. They have to share a daughter together, whatever. She's compensated. Who knows? But what I'm saying is there's another world there. There's another world. And the people in Hollywood who are not even secretly gay, openly gay, but it doesn't rise to that top level that where Brian Kilmeade would know about it, or that poor young man on Fox who can't pronounce English, or whatever, Newsmax, or that as at that level. But you can't believe this always blows me away. We had a conversation recently with a friend of mine who was in the biz, and we went through the list of gay. Women, that's been bisexual for years. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't even have any. There's no such thing as a. Remember when we use words like lesbian? Don't even use anymore. I don't even know who is classically gay. Who was gay? Jodie Foster or something. But Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow's so old school, Main Street. But it's not even worth noting. That's the funny thing about this. Okay. As promised, Tucker. Tucker was a person who always said, "What am I?" Roger Ailes supposedly said to him, "Lose that bow tie." Nobody on Fox is going to wear a bow tie or something like that. That was his thing. I remember, you know how it is. I see, I think it's true. You get to a certain age, I see his name. I'll think of him. He's the writer with the glasses, wear the bow tie to get that thing off. Okay, so that was it. I can't wear the bow tie. Not gonna wear the bow tie. When Tucker lost the bow, George will. When Tucker lost the bow tie, part of his thing was dead. Remember when Clayton Moore? Clayton Moore was the Lone Ranger. And Clayton Moore, they told him, "You can't wear the mask." He said, "I can't wear the mask." Nope. I can't wear the mask. Can't wear the mask. Oh my God. So he wore like these sunglasses, remember that's those skiing, it's that style of sunglasses. Like, what? It was sad. When Tucker lost the money, I'm telling you, that was step one. Okay, fine. Here he comes. So now he's at Fox. And he was all over the place. He was on MSNBC. He interviewed me when he was on MSDNC years ago. This was before it even mattered. Remember Crossfire? I think it was Jon Stewart. When Jon Stewart is one of the greatest stories to which everybody misses, how he just disappeared. It's like, whatever happened to? Didn't you used to be? So he all of a sudden he does this thing. Now he's at Fox. He's got the big dog, Hannity. Hannity looks at him right away and says, "This is going to be trouble." Hannity, the survivor. Hannity, smartest one of the book. Anybody who follows Rush and follows Bill O'Reilly. Rush dead, bless his heart, great guy. O'Reilly gone, because O'Reilly was just stupid. Mr. Genius, just anyway, he's still there. Hannity was BLT, straight down the road, middle of the road, just nothing, just Rush Limbaugh, Ronald Reagan, whatever, and the liberals and the whatever. And he's still doing his thing with his 20-minute intros to show you he knows more, because there's an insecurity there. He wants to show you, don't forget something. I know more than my guest. I know I've got Alan. He had Alan Dershowitz one time on, and I'll never forget. Hannity was talking one time. I said, "Let the guy talk." He had on Michael Baden, forensic pathologist. I think they were talking about maybe Epstein, and this was the medical examiner, chief medical examiner of New York, Michael Baden. He's done like 10 million, I don't know, autopsies. Hannity, find this somewhere and you will be your jaw will permanently be locked and, jaw-dropping, gobsmacked. He went into this dissertation about how Hannity apparently was just involved in MMA or something, about the rear naked choke. And Hannity apparently knew how to do this because he has the choke. And he's telling Michael Bud, and everybody knows, MMA, rear naked choke. You go behind her and you put this, and this, and you pull. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, he's trying to show you I'm a tough guy. I know, I'm a tough guy. Wow. And I'm thinking, I'm the only one who's seeing this right now. Nobody's even paying attention to this because they're listening to what I'm thinking. But the real passion play that's being missed is Hannity telling people, you don't understand something. I'm into MMA now. I'm a badass. Yeah. Michael Bond. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't mess with me. Was he a badass? Here, give me this football. Want to go on? Am I a badass or what? I'm throwing a football. You can laugh all you want. I know what I'm talking about. Tucker. All of a sudden, Tucker's falling into the Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck, as an example, when Glenn Beck first discovered Alex Jones, he ripped off Alex Jones like you can't believe. Glenn Beck was doing, remember the, excuse me, the chalkboard. It was everything Alex has been saying for years. And of course, fractionalized currency. You of course got fiat currency, fractional reserve currency, and then you've got this, and we've got the Federal Reserve, and then of course you've got the Illuminati, the Knights Templar, whatever it was. And he's breaking everything down because Glenn Beck just discovered this. He just discovered, Saul Alinsky. Remember when Saul Alinsky was born? Remember that? Well, you remember when all of a sudden everybody discovered Saul Alinsky? Everybody. One day he was born. The guy had been dead he was on firing line so many times. Saul Alinsky said nothing even remotely interesting with what people were saying. Not even remotely, but Saul Alinsky is like sometimes people say Karl Popper. If you heard that, you probably not, but when somebody says Karl Popper, oh, they just heard about that. Somebody turned them on to this. So all of a sudden, they realized, hey, I like this new me. I like this because I'm getting a lot of attention. And all of a sudden, there was Beck, who was kind of whatever. And then he gets into this stuff, and people thought he's crazy. He's not crazy. It was kind of Ron Paul, kind of this and that. But Alex Jones was legitimate. He was there first. He really was. He was he was there first. Okay. Back to Tucker. He's on Fox. And now he's basically, the thing with him is, he changes his mind. He falls out of love with you. He'll pick something. Viktor Orban. Well, why are you going to? Wait. What was that about? Why out of the 180 whatever country? I have no idea. All of a sudden you're into Hungary and what? What was that about? I don't know. Okay. My God, you were okay. Then he says, I like this because I'm breaking away from the usual Fox group, kind of getting back at, damn you taking away my bow tie. All right, fine. But all of a sudden he starts giving the liberty argument. Now remember, prototypical classic, Greg Kelly kind of meat and potatoes stuff, conservative, they don't know what that means. They're into conservative values, woke. They love woke. They can't get enough of it. Alan Dershowitz, Bill Ackman, Claudine Gay, they've got a hard-on for for Harvard. They were burned. And Dershowitz is so jealous of Larry Tribe, Lawrence Freed, Charles Freed. He's just, You got to understand where they're coming from. Meanwhile, somewhere, Israel, the people of Gaza aren't even being discussed. They're not even being discussed. 20,000 people, and we're talking about, okay, fine. Well, all of a sudden, here comes Tucker. And Tucker is, you can't figure out, he loves Trump, he hates Trump. I despise Trump. I can't stand Trump. All right. Epstein, maybe. UFOs. He did one of the greatest disservices ever to notion of UFOs by not even, he's a limited hangout. I'm going to make people think that I'm exposing something because I'm not going to expose anything. I'm going to talk about the Tic Tac thing and the gimbal, whatever, and I'm not going to get into it at all. You could watch an old Stanton Friedman lecture and get more out of it than this stuff. It's not even a serious attempt. Not even a serious attempt to even do this. Nothing. All of a sudden, he is the hottest thing in town. The number one network, this is pre-Dominion, number one network, number one, name, the guy is gold. Speaking fees, I would imagine books, who knows, he's in Maine, he is so on fire, and he gets sloppy. Lets people that his, allegedly, let you know about rumors, and you know when they're in lawsuits, he lets newsrooms kind of get, sloppy and big mouths. But Tucker is a blue blood, ice water veined, Yankee, khaki wearing, Nantucket, cloth belt, remember the old cloth, George Herbert Walker Bush was it, the cloth band on the watch. Oh, nautical motif. Ahoy there. I'm Tucker. This is Buckley. This is Buffy, and trust fund. I'm gonna pretend I'm a man of the people. I don't want to have anything to do with you. We are as detached from regular folks as you can possibly ever get. We don't want to know you. I'll throw you a bone every now and then, but I am not in your league, and you are not in mine. Do I make myself clear? Don't let up to and including the little tiny JFK, just the JFK, very interesting style of the pocket square. I'm not going to miss a thing. Okay. Now it's working. Most of his audience has no idea. Why? Because his audience, like everybody else's audience, are into the personality, the cult of personality, and not the cult of ideas, not the intellectual ideations, not the schools of thought, not the philosophy, not the historicity, not the okay, now talking to what do we do? How do we mobilize this? No, it's about him, because that's what social media do. It inspires people to focus on personalities and to miss the bigger picture. That's why here we are with just 9 days to the end of the year, and nobody's even talking about the elections. It should be because we're still we're just, and that's the beauty of social media. It just locks us into this distraction. Okay, so something happens. Watch the way Tucker hangs around a man who is real alpha type, what you would consider to be, if it were like your obnoxious older brother. You know what I mean? That kind of a technique. Dave Portnoy, Andrew Tate, Kid Rock, John Daly. See? Real males over almost caricatures. You know what I mean? Caricatures. Not really, not intellectuals. Just you know, to wit. What would you ask John Daly if John Daly, golfer, um, absolutely fascinating. What would you ask him? Would you ask him, did you really get drunk a lot? Did you really smoke? How many Diet Cokes do you drink a day? Who drinks more Diet Coke? You or Trump? Wow. Were you drunk? Did you ever get drunk? Really? Did they know you were drunk? Wow. Did you ever have, I bet you had girlfriends. He can ask that question, but he kind of wants to, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Anyway. Do you not see this? That's what you want to ask him? Give me an example. John Daly did one of the things. He is known as having one of the most mammoth swings, hits in golf. That's number one. Number two, John Daly is the bad boy who kind of fought against the clubhouse PGA group. He is to the PGA what Johnny Cash was to the Grand Ole Opry. How much of your problem was your John veering from or defying the PGA? The PGA, by the way, was very upset when MBS and the others were trying to compete against that. What does it mean to be a pro? What does a pro have that other people don't? There are, I don't know how many, quote, how many golf pros there are. Why is there a handful? What makes the greats versus a great? How would Sam Snead play against whatever? I would talk about the rudiments of him and prior to you, who would what be, because do you think ever, John, that your reputation overshadows your greatness? What are you going to be? What would you want to be known for ultimately? John Daly, one of the greatest natural golfers, or is it part of the lifestyle itself? One thing about when Willie and Waylon and Johnny Cash and others broke away from Roy Acuff and Nashville, they had the talent to back it up. I remember when Willie put out Redheaded Stranger and the Outlaws with Tom Paul Glaser and Jesse Coulter and Waylon. All of a sudden, country music and rock kind of merged. Just like I remember in the old days when Southern rock, when Marshall Tucker and Allman Brothers created this kind of a merger. You had to have talent, though. Okay, I just maybe gave you 10, I don't know, more questions. I would have never asked him, do you really drink that much? That's cool. Do you get drunk? Are you drunk in the morning? How much do you think you drink? If you and Trump got into a Diet Coke contest, do you think he's because Trump also comes across as the alpha male too? Think about this. Kid Rock. What's Kid Rock's thing? Kid Rock, is it the music? I don't know about the music. But that's not what he's after. Why don't you interview David Allan Coe or somebody like, that's not it. Do you see what's going on here? There was a scene the other day of walking from this, MMA. Now, let me tell you the real McCoy. Listen to this. Compare them to Joe Rogan. See, you're missing all this. We should have a show. There should be a show just analyzing the shows. Look at these people. Joe Rogan is the real deal. Joe Rogan, honest to God, is a legitimate, badass, real boxer or fighter, and And he doesn't gloat. He talks about other people. He talks because he knows so much about it. He doesn't really. Mike Tyson. If you hit somebody really as hard as you, do you think you could? I mean, no. That's almost like the kid. Like, can I touch your gun, officer? You know, that kind of a thing. It's like this little boy trying to fit in among the men. You know, the alpha types. I want to be like you. They I'm just a kid from, this, and I wear khaki pants. I wear shoes without socks. This is 1979. This is the Preppy's Handbook. This is Nancy, whatever her name is, from the Preppy's book. This is it screams. That's the story. I want you to listen to a video of Gore Vidal talking to a psychiatrist about his life. Fascinating. You have to understand how things work. There were people who were so interesting that things that motivated their behavior. General Patton, you don't know anything about this guy. General Patton was sort of similar to Tucker, loaded. His wife, his family, he had polo ponies. This guy was. And he was absolute 100% serious badass. Chesty puller from the Marines. Never won the Medal of Honor, but won 6, was it 5 or 6? Navy Crosses and Distinguished Service or whatever. This was the baddest ass guy. Legitimate. Not even. Then there were people like Nimitz. Real quiet. He was the last fleet admiral. Marshal. And these were all military. But these were real. This is a real badass. I mean, serious. Not because of what they said, what they did. And I could imagine if Tucker could interview George Patton, did you really slap him? Yeah. How'd that feel? What did he say when you slapped him? Did you slap him with did you use a glove, or did you open-handed? Did you how many times did you slap him? Really? Wow. That's cool, huh? Yeah, I got him almost. What? I mean, I don't understand him. Here's the story, which is, while we're on the subject. And I've been talking for 48 minutes because this fascinates me even more than anything. I am irreligious. I do not believe, I'm not saying there is none, I do not believe in God. I don't speak French. I'm not saying there is no French. I just don't speak it. I don't speak God. I feel like everybody should be going to every store. I say, woman, stop. Enough. The people in Gaza, enough. This is the 20,000. Enough. Stop it. Stop. I don't want to hear anything about this. Ben Shapiro, shut up. I don't want to hear any more about, the history. What's in Edward Olmert in 97? There was the Oslo Accords. I don't want to hear about this anymore. I don't want to hear. I know that. Thank you very much. The Palestinian, the worst. Yes. I don't care about that. And I don't want to talk about whether this is Zionism, anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism. Excuse me. I don't care about that. Stop this. I mean, are we missing the point? I don't understand. Not too long ago, I was explaining that in the African American communities in New York and other places as well, there is an absolute overwhelming, almost a form of I'm not going to say genocide. I hate that term, but black people are dying. The obesity rate, I don't know about the rest of the country, but it's kids are walking around, they're born overweight. To overweight families, they live in neighborhoods where they live in processed foods and junk and crap and garbage. It's just like this one, what was this one? Oh, the American Samoan, I think this Samoan Islands, where their diabetes, they have amputation clinics like you have nail salons because of the, okay. I said, if we could change the dietary habits of black citizens and could reduce BMI by 10%, we could save I don't know how many lives. You know what people said immediately? We know it's a lifestyle. Well, they're able to do this. And then we get into, well, that's because, well, the family unit. I'm saying, excuse me, did you hear what I just said? You want to talk about how black people ask for it. People love to do that. Well, they ask for it. That's not what I'm saying. Did you hear what I said? I said people are dying. Blindness, kidney transplant, diabetes. And you want to blame people. Same thing with Hamas. Hamas, with Gaza. Gaza is not, I'm not talking about Hamas. Hamas, yes, you take care of Hamas. It's got to stop this. And people are looking at me. I had a woman the other day. You're not going to believe this. I had a woman the other day say to me, you don't understand. I don't understand? No, you don't understand. People, those kids in those areas are raised to hate Jews and Israelis. I said, that has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with this. I want you to come to me. By the way, this is a woman who has, bad plastic surgery. You have no idea the plastic. I don't know what happened when plastic surgery got this bad, like an epidemic. But again, this look, and I want to take you to lose the Louboutins and put on some Wellingtons, and let's go with me. And here's a flashlight, and let's go into this. You see that house that just dropped? Yeah, come on. There's a few people living, and I want you to go tell them as they're crying, as the cries kind of whimper out because the people are dying because of being crushed. I want you to tell them, you're raised and told to hate Jews. So what does that have to do with this? Again, people don't understand the issue, what we're talking about. What's going on here? What are we talking about? You want to do a 9-part series on John Daly getting drunk. Okay. You want to talk about whatever it is. As we speak, self-styled Christians, Christmas Mass, when all the Christian hypocrites go to Mass twice a year, Easter, Christmas. At Easter, for Catholics, it's really, First Friday. Good Friday, and then there's the Passion, and it's a different story. This is what's going on here. Religion, I can't speak for the rest of the world. Christianity in this country, name only. You wear a cross around your neck. You talk about Jesus. If you're somebody on Facebook, or on Twitter or X, you have it on your. I'm a God-loving. I love Jesus. Okay, fine. If Jesus were here, Jesus would be disgusted. And you could, no, Jesus, you don't understand Jesus. No, see, Jesus, they were raised from the time they were born to hate Jews. This is what a woman told me. It's like, what does this have to do with anything? If I were to go and tell you, the rate of, do you know the number of Black Americans on dialysis? Well, it's the music. What? It's the same thing. It's like, you're missing the point. They have this thing they want to say that they hate these people, and they will incorporate that particular, and there may be something to it, but they will incorporate that into the subject matter here. Now, let me tell you what also, you could turn on all of these shows and all this stuff and all of these hypocritical, bloodthirsty ghouls passing as conservative patrons of the truth. And I'm going to say, listen, you stupid bastards. Donald Trump is going to lose again to this guy, Gavin Newsom. And we're going to go 4 more years. And by the way, this is 4 new years of somebody who's real slick and real good. And he's not going to make some stupid, and you're not going to give that Corinne Jean-Pierre. You can laugh all you want. She's never answered a question yet. And you think she's stupid? She's the smartest person there is. She hasn't answered a question yet. With the wigs and all that stuff. She hasn't answered a question yet. Carmelita, she might be even more brilliant than all of them. She says the most stupid things in the world. She hasn't done a damn thing. She hasn't been to the border yet. They put her in charge of artificial intelligence and the border. Mayorkas, he's still walking free. Fauci, he's walking free. Jim Jordan, waste of flesh. Mike Jacobs, whatever, what is he talking about? Well, my family may have been. Waste of time. Ted Cruz, waste of time. Screaming and yelling. Josh Hawley. Dershowitz, everybody's screaming at Claudine Gay. And they're absolutely right. She's absolutely 100% right. You don't fire you don't kick somebody out because of what they're saying. Her problem is, and my objection is that if you get some DEI or whatever, some message wrong or use the wrong pronouns, she didn't care about the context about that, and that's inconsistency. That's a different story altogether. You see what I'm saying? It's a different story altogether. But that's all they're talking about. Bill Ackman, the hedge fund, he's got such a hard-on for them because I guess they didn't treat him right or something, or they didn't. I don't know what. But, I mean, that's all he's doing. Harvard this, we're going to do the Harvard this. It's like, well, in 1970, whatever, Derek Bach, who was a president, they had Confederate flags on the campus of Harvard. And the president said, well, sorry, unless there's something more, we're not going to kick people out because that's what they've had their moments. Then this guy, Charles Freed, who is about to retire. He's a law professor. I think he's been there either longer than or close to as long as a Dershowitz, and he's about to retire. I was like, wait a minute. He's writing this before he's retiring? Yeah. He's not doing this not to screw up their retirement. I would wait. Anyway, he wrote an article which doesn't even remotely address the issue. But there are people who are devoting themselves to her plagiarism. Claudine Gay plagiarism. Did she plagiarize? I don't know. This black author said she did. This one says she didn't. This one has, but I don't understand any of this stuff. I mean, I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Does anybody really care? The reason why they care about plagiarism is because they want to get her. And if they want to get her, fine. I don't really care one way or the other. But the point is, be honest. I wish people would say, look, we don't care about plagiarism. We don't care about plagiarism because if you got rid of plagiarism, the whole schools would be all of a sudden, you just figured out this one? All right, fine. There are people as we prepare for Christmas and the birth of our Lord and the star and the Magi and all this stuff. There are people who are just dying through the most excruciating, and I don't care about anything else. Nobody's even talking about that. We have an election that's coming up, and nobody's talking about that. Rudy Giuliani, they are going to, if Rudy Giuliani doesn't off himself, and I say this not loosely. I always thought he was drinking too much. He will have you can Trump's a different person. Trump is just used to, or not used to it, but he's been able to handle this. Rudy's trying to file for bankruptcy. They won't let him file for bankruptcy. They're going to sue him again for the same thing. I mean, they just smell blood. They just want him. Rudy's on his own. He's selling all his properties. I don't know where he has a daughter. He has a son. I don't know where Andrew is. He's trying to sell supplements. It's the saddest thing. This guy was the greatest mayor anybody's ever seen. Look what they did to him. And if he starts drinking again, and he gets to the point where he figures, like, what is going on here? I hope not. But he is in bad shape. And there is nothing that these people would love more than to have their first KIA. This is how hateful everything is. And they're not done with Trump yet at all, period. But he's a different story. So anyway, the next story is we have this complete waste of the conservative. You've got the Turning Point folks, and you've got the CPAC folks, and you got the Fox News. Who are the real? You've got this Charles Murray, and he's on with Piers Morgan. They get this fat and sweaty junk yogurt. They have him scream. He has a good point here and there, maybe, but he's just such a jadrul. And you put him on with these British masters. I'm Charles Murray. That's where you see you don't understand that, and then you have them lose their mind. And Piers Morgan just makes all this. He just sits back and pretends to be the peacekeeper. And meanwhile, I would imagine, I keep thinking, if Hitler had been around when we had social media, would Piers Morgan have had that? Would Piers Morgan have had junk yogurt or somebody just screaming and yelling, and nobody trying to stop Hitler? Nobody, just they would just be a show, talking about it. This guy's, is he a commie? Well, he's a socialist. Well, he's not a socialist. He's a fascist. And then people would talk about, well, they could have stopped him at, it was Versailles. We'd be talking about it, and nobody would be fighting him. We don't stand for anything anymore. We don't do anything. We don't, nothing. I just don't get it. Don't think for a moment that Ukraine is over. Don't think for a moment that somehow, wow, that's the guy who the lone voice is Mearsheimer, who is if there is somebody everybody should be forced to listen to, it is he. Jeffrey Sachs, I like more of the academic versus the script. Scott Ritter is wonderful in terms of his military, operational ideas, but he tends to lose his mind. He gets angry and all that stuff. And then you've got other people too who just sit around and just blather on about whatever it is. Meanwhile, nothing is being done because all of the energy and all of the focus is going into discussing things. And if you do want to discuss the people who are doing this, let's go behind the scenes. Let's look at what's happening. Who are these people? What is this? If you don't understand, like, what motivates a Tucker or who is it? Well, look at what or a peer, so to speak. If you're not following the genius of Taylor Swift, you're missing one of the greatest stories of all time. I mean, you're missing something that is so brilliant it goes without saying. Sparky says, only way U.S. can stop what happens over there is to stop funding both sides and pull their military out of the region. Yeah, I think that's true to an extent, but no, because what goes on there is not necessarily just the bombing. You're talking about the immediate killing. Somebody's going to have to deal with what they are calling an occupation versus an annexation. You don't need a lot of military assistance for that. There's going to be, whether anybody wants to review this or not, a review of the Middle East, and we'll just use that as a collective. And nobody's talking about undoing anything. But unless you sit down and say, listen, for whatever 75 years, are we going to address, do these Palestinians have any? Now, again, if you talk to Ben Shapiro, to Dershowitz and others, they will tell you, you don't understand something. The Palestinians have been offered 7, 8, 10 different opportunities to address this, to fix this, to have their 2 states or whatever it is. And they've said no every single time. They don't want that. That's got to be addressed. That's got to be addressed. But you don't need weapons. You don't need bombs. You don't need money to continue what they call to be apartheid and everything else. That's the issue. And Americans have to be told this is what's going on. We're not talking about bombing anything. We're talking about just a structure from people who have been saying basically the same thing forever. I'm sounding like Adam Schiff. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So if you think this is about the United States, that okay, stop sending weapons to Israel, and then they say, okay, I took care of that. That's all it took. It's all better now. Nobody's complaining about occupation. Nobody's complaining about human rights violations. Everybody can come and go as they please. No ID cards. No calorie restrictions, no restrictions over air and sea, and it's all done now. Now that we're not sending money, if you think that's the problem, I don't know who that would make you sound like, but I don't believe that's it at all. But here's the bottom line. Nobody cares. Americans don't care about this. We don't care about this. We don't care about this. We don't even care who's going to win the election. We care about just stuff. And the stuff that we care about is what's on our phone. And that's the focus. And it may be your phone, and your phone could be sent to what's on TV. Or Americans are great at keeping themselves busy. That's it. But the biggest hypocrites, Christmas time, are the Christians, my friends and family, whatever, who sit there and say, all we care about is Allah. But no, you don't. No, you don't. Ibrahim says you are very good with the insights. Well, thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's very nice. Sean Martin says, a close friend of mine who was quite liberal has resigned himself to the scenario unfolding where Trump wins. How is that going to happen? Sean, do you think the powers that be, who could stop any election at any time, can control anything you want, from phony polls to results to ballots disappearing because they have the courts covered? They've got everything. No lawyer is going to want to touch any claim of any kind of a chicanery or whatever. How are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with that? Good luck with that. No. Tell me how Trump is going to say he's not going to win. I mean, of the the tough states, Georgia or whatever. How do you think? How do you think? Do you think that the shadow government and the rest are going to want to sit back for 4 more years and let Trump go in and start to undo this and undo that and undo this and undo that? Because remember, if they want to cheat legally, they'll do it. Absolutely. Okay? Now, as far as what's going on with everything else, here's the thing. You've got to continue on with what you're doing. You have to know the truth. You have to focus on what's going on. And you've got to be able to understand who's telling the truth and who's not. And be able to focus on the issues that matter and whatever. The borders are absolutely out of control. Every other issue that we were talking about before is worse now because we've been distracted from it. Borders, children, artificial intelligence. I've given up. Americans don't even understand. They think artificial intelligence is a robot or something. I don't know. They don't. They just do not understand. That's where we are right now. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for your kind words. Sean Martin, thank you. Ibrahim Sparky, thank you. And you, my dear friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. I think this is our last Christmas party I got to go to. Pray for me. Pray for me. Because, I understand why people like to drink a lot at events. Because when you're drunk, you don't have to really, you don't have to listen to anybody. So I think that makes sense. I think John Daly would certainly agree with that. That's why he's here. Mad Peace, by the way, says the sun will explode in 10,000 years, so none of this will really matter. But I'd like you to give you these few dollars to Mrs. L to help save the children because this matter more than any of these chumps. Yes, this matters more than yes. What they're doing to children and what is happening is so horrible. It is so barbaric. And they're still not getting to the issue regarding Epstein and going to the issue of why. And thank you, Mad Peace. They're really not going to the issue of why. Where are the videos? Somebody today said, I think maybe one of the reasons why some of these conservatives might be voting in these particularly crazy areas is because of the fact that maybe they were compromised by being on Epstein, whatever. Say, gee, you think maybe that's it? You think you kind of figuring that one out? It's brutal. All right, dear friends. Have a great day. See you tonight, 7 p.m. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Da-da.